Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For those who are new, welcome. My name is Monica, and in today's video I am going to be talking about the good, the somewhat disappointment, and the beautiful in my mid-year book freakout tag. So before I get into the tag video, I wanted to check in on my Goodreads goal. My Goodreads goal for 2024 is 100 books. I got that, I think, in April. Now I'm like at 170, and I'm actually going to be 171 once I finish The Woman on the Lake, I think it's called. It's the new Christian Ashley romantic suspense. It's a good series with older heroes and heroines. I am about 20 minutes from finishing that book. So yeah, so as of today, it will be 171, and today is Father's Day. But let's get into the questions for the book tag. Question 1 is best sequel of 2024. There's two. The first one is House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J. Maas, Bryson Hunt. This ends their story. I really loved the development of a lot of the side characters. I thought the ending was interesting, and I liked Bryce and Hunt, even though Bryce could be not the best communicator, I should say, but I really enjoyed this one. It filled everything that I wanted in the story, and I'm new to romantasy, so take that with a grain of salt. It worked for me, and I really enjoyed it. And the other one that I really have to talk about is Ashes of You by Catherine Cowles. This is book 5 in her Lost and Found series. This one is Lawson and Hallie's story, and he found her after she survived a serial killer, and then 5 years later she comes and nannies for him. And the found family feelings that I got from this book, and the way Hallie and Lawson pined for each other, and the whole suspense plot was fantastic. Catherine Cowles can write a good romantic suspense. The suspense plot and the romance generally marries together seamlessly in her books. I have never had one where I did not believe the suspense, I did not believe the romance, and I feel like as she's gone on writing, she's gotten even better. So have to give that one, I have to talk about that one. That one is really, really good. And also, this is the one that I did guess who the villain was. So anyway, the next question is new release that I haven't read yet. I have two, and there's no excuse for them. I just haven't gotten to them, but there's no excuse. I should have gotten to them by now. The first one is King of Sloth by Anna Wong. And the second one is Caution to the Wind by Gianna Darling. So I'll have to say with Caution to the Wind, I've been waiting for the audiobook, and now that's out. I just got it on a sale because I've been very careful of what I've been buying, because money is a thing right now, I think, for everybody. So, but I got it on the Audible sale that just happened, and so I'm really happy I got it. The next question is most anticipated release for the second half of 2024. So I have a few. Wisteria by Adeline Grace. This is book 3 in her Belladonna series. I don't even know what it's called, but it's a gothic romance retelling of Death and the Maiden, and it's young adult, and I loved both books. Not everybody loved Foxglove, but I actually really liked Foxglove. Again, I'm new to romantasy, so I'm trying to figure out what works for me and what doesn't work for me. I am also really excited for Play Along by Liz Tom Ford. This comes out in July. The Striker by Anna Wong. This comes out in October, and I am looking down because I'm making sure that I get them all. Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. This comes out in September. There's two books that we're going to be getting in Sparrow Falls series. The first one is Delicate Escape, and this is obviously by Catherine Cowles. That one's coming in August. Then Broken Harbor. This one's coming in November, and again by Catherine Cowles. Sunlight by Devaney Perry. This one is coming in October. And then The Mirror. This is book 2. I want to call it The Inheritance, or it's like the Lost Brides series, I think. Anyway, this is by Nora Roberts. This is the second book. The first one is Inheritance. I gave that one 5 stars, despite the fact that it ended on such a obnoxious cliffhanger. and the cover is gorgeous, and I'm excited for the next book in the series. The next question is my biggest disappointment. So there's two. A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle Jensen. Again, this goes back to me being new to romantasy. I really loved the idea of this book. My issue with this book was that the first part, the beginning, was really fun. I really enjoyed all the fast-pacedness of it. It was great, but then it just like stalled in the middle and I was bored. It's like, I can't when I'm bored. And then I guess the ending. So that's why it just did not work for me, which is sad because I really wanted to love that one. So the next question is what surprised me so far, and it's the Dragon of Ember series by Tessa Hale. I'm just going to put one of the books up there. The new one comes out in July. I'm really excited to read that. And it's in this whole why choose. I'm not a why choose girly. I haven't even read Pucking Around by Emily Rath, okay? The idea why choose, I'm like, just pick someone. It feels indecisive to me, but this really worked for me. Like, it worked so well for me, and I believed the romance with the whole clan, with the way, I think it's clan is how we're saying it. I'm not sure. Anyway, I believed it. I loved it that they had their own identity. Personalities didn't melt it together and became one big blob and you couldn't tell who was whom. So yeah, that's why I really liked it. And I loved the storyline and I loved the characters and I just think it was fantastic. The other one that surprised me was To Ravish a Rogue by Simna Costa. Never been a very big romance girly. Like, you'll never get me to read Ensnared. I don't like spiders. That being said, I decided to try this one because of the cover, because I had just read Gentle Rogue by Johanna Lindsay. I did not know going into reading this that it was a retelling of Gentle Rogue until someone had said, yeah, Simna Costa basically did that she just did it with monsters. And I thought that was the best thing. It was pirates. It had the historical romance feelings. The characters were awesome. I really enjoyed that one and I was surprised. And I've gone on to read a couple more monster romances since that one. So that is very interesting. The next question is new favorite author. So I have two. Katerina Mora, The Wrong Bride. That was on my backlist, TBR. Read that, loved it. I need to go back and read her entire backlist. Like, I have the need to read her entire backlist by this point. I'm very excited for this. I read it a couple weeks ago, and I still think about that book. It is so good. I loved it. I loved the angstiness, the messiness. I loved the characters, and I loved the motivation of each character. It was so good. I still think about that book, and I will be reading her entire backlist. I can tell you that. Also, Ashley Munoz. I started reading her Stone Riders and Sea series. I've read the first two. I'm waiting for the next two to get on audio because I love the audios. The audios are fantastic and I love the characters. I love how they are. Nobody is completely bad while no one is completely good either. And I love the found family feeling. That's the whole thing with me this year is like, if it has found family, I'm loving it. And I'm loving the conflicts in it, and I love the characters, and I love their developments, and I'm just really excited to listen to number 3, and number 4 in this series. The next question is books that made me cry. Unfortunately, I don't have any, or I should say fortunately, because I don't know if reading, crying from a book, well, no, that would be unfortunate because that means they pull the emotion out of me. But no, I haven't actually cried over a book. I've laughed, I giggled, I've squealed, I've kicked my feet, and I felt the heartbreak, but did it actually make me physically cry? No, so I can't give you one. So let's move on to the next one, which is this year's book boyfriends. First book boyfriend is Rune from the House of Flame and Shadow. I know we saw him on the whole entire series, but with him and Lydia, they stole the romantic show from Bryce and Hunt, and oh my gosh, I loved them. And he's one of the biggest reasons why I loved that book so much. The way Lydia and Room worked together, and the way they fell in love. And then we find out her backstory, and then we find out what he went through, and my heart broke for him. And oh my gosh, I loved that book so much, and I loved Rune as a character. Such book boyfriend material. But my next book boyfriend is Anson Hunt from Fragile Sanctuary. This is book 1 in the Sparrow Falls series, and this is by Catherine Cowles. He is an ex-FBI profiler. He was so protective over his woman, but he was so traumatized by the stuff that had happened to him and his family, and the way he helped Rhodes to just deal with her stuff, and then he just couldn't stay away from her. And it was brother's best friend, and the brother's best friend worked so well in this one, and I'm critical over brother's best friend, so if I'm saying it works, it works. And I just loved it so much, and I loved Anson. He's such a sweet character, and but very, very protective. Like he would cut someone to save his girl. So yeah. But my next book boyfriend is Rafael Lopez, or they call him Rafa. And I just had read this book, and it's coming out the week that you see this. And it's not coming out on an audio, I think, till August, but I got the audio, ALC. Girls, you need to read this book. He is prime book boyfriend material. He is grumpy, she's sunshine. She is the nanny, he's the single dad. She had a crush on him in high school and didn't do anything about it. They both have some significant trauma that they're working over, so absolutely you have to check trigger warnings of this one. But he loved her. He pined for her. She pined for him, but he wouldn't not make a move while she was in his employment. So once she stopped working for him, it was all on. And when he was in, he was in. And the way he was such a great single dad. And one of my favorite things, and this might be a little spoilery, I'm sorry, but I have to say this. He planted flowers for her. Oh, this is book 2 in the Lakefront Billionaire series by Lauren Asher, if I hadn't said that before. But he was able to build a greenhouse to plant hibiscus and other tropical flowers, because in the book, they go to Hawaii. Him and his son Nino would give Ellie, who's our heroine, flowers to put in her hair, and they were typically hibiscus. And so he grew those flowers so he could give her a flower every day to put in her hair. And there was no third act breakup, because both of them were wholly committed to the relationship. And the way he treated her after he got over his phobias, because he had some phobias, is so good. And I loved it. And I loved him and the way they communicated. Book boyfriend material, absolutely. And then my last book boyfriend, it has to be West Haven from Crossroads. And this is book 1 in the Haven Ranch series by Devaney Perry. It's her new series. This book just breathed new life. Oh my gosh. So this one, he was in love with Indy since they were kids. She was in love with him, but they didn't really talk about it because her family would come and go sometimes every couple of years to his family's ranch and retreat, because they had like a kind of like, if you know Dirty Dancing, where that type of retreat type thing, but it was on the ranch. Yeah, this one, he was protective over her, but he pined over her, and he never got over her, and he loved her, and he fought for her, and he fought for his family as well. And I loved him. So the next question is books that made me happy. Wild Love by Elsie Silver. I was giggling through that book. It was so sweet. It was so fun. I really enjoyed it. And I don't feel like I need to talk about it because we've all read it. But the other one that I want to mention is, again, Love Unwritten by Lauren Asher. This is book 2 in the Lakefront Billionaire series. This book had me kicking my feet. It had me giggling. And I just loved all the characters, and I loved the storyline. And as I was talking about Rafa being my definitely a book boyfriend, Ellie was such a strong character, and he wouldn't have been so good if it wasn't for her. So, and I loved Ellie and Nino's relationship. Nino is Rafa's son, who's 9 years old. He is going blind from a genetic disease. I can't remember the name of it, but she is helping him through it. And at one point at the very beginning, Rafa is actually jealous of them because of how close Nino and Ellie are together. And it was kind of funny to see that. She was an incredibly patient and kind heroine who was very understanding. She had trauma of her own, and Rafa helped her through a lot of that trauma and having her stand up for herself. You'll know more when you read this book, because you need to read this book. I'm telling you now, you need to read this book. Okay, so then my next question is the most beautiful book that I bought this year. So I have a few. Fragile Sanctuary by Catherine Cowles. I love the sprayed edges, and it comes with a ribbon. Then when I was at Sweetgrass, I love the QB Tyler, What Was Meant to Be. I just love that one. And then of course, Serpentine Valentine by Gianna Darling. This is the one that we could get at Sweetgrass. So yeah. And I absolutely love this book too. I highly recommend this book. My last one is The Bluff by Devney Perry. This is actually my favorite book in the Calamity Montana series. This is Logan's Library, Infant Rachel. And this is my, like I said, this is my favorite one. Let me see if I can find you one of the pages. Here's Huck's page. I didn't actually buy this. Tori from Novel Life, she gave it to me. I'm so happy she gave this to me because I missed out on this box. If I had known about this box, I would have picked up the box. So I'm so excited that she did. So thank you, Tori, for giving this to me. I absolutely love it, and it's one of my favorite editions I have of The Bluff. So, okay, so the last question is books that I need to read before the end of the year. To answer this question, I went into my TBRs and I looked up what I need to do. So this is not the ones that haven't come out yet. These are the ones that have already come out, and I should have read them by now. So here are the ones that are left on all my TBRs, which is my Nora Roberts TBR, my backlist TBR, my historical romance TBR, and my new release TBR. Let's just go through them. King of Sloth by Anna Wong. Honor's Splendor by Julie Garwood. Magnet by Joanna Shoup. Don't Hate Me by Indigo by Beverly Jenkins. I know I need to read this. I'm kind of keeping it for a special moment when I really need a good romance. The Perfect Rake by Anna Gracie. This has been on my TBR before for the historical romance, and I never got to it. Forever Your Rogue by Erin Langston. The Culmination of Everything by Christina C. Jones. Pretty Ugly Promises by C.W. Farnsworth. Meet Your Baker by Ellie Alexander. High Noon by Nora Roberts. Command Performance by Nora Roberts. And The Playboy Prince by Nora Roberts. So yes, that is what I have left to read. And hey guys, so when I was editing this video, I realized that I forgot a question, and it was actually the last question. And I would say that I'm surprised that I forgot it, but really I'm not. My daughter was bugging me. She's like, Mom, you gotta make a cake because it's Father's Day right now. And I had to go make my dad a chocolate cake with peppermint icing. And she was like, come on, you need to do this. So I actually needed to do that. And then I needed to make dinner. And then I was finishing editing this video, and it totally slipped my mind that I need to talk about my top books of the year so far, because that's the last prompt. Totally forgot to do that. So here are some of my top books. This is in no particular order because I have no idea what my top read is yet, because I just love all these books. And I try not to think about my top until like November, December, when I'm really starting to weed through all my 5 stars. So the first 2 are from Catherine Cowles. The first one is Fragile Sanctuary, book 1 in her Sparrow Falls series. Love that one. Then Ashes of You, which is book 5 in the Lost and Found series. That's my favorite book in that series. Of course, I have to mention Crossroads by Devney Perry. That book was so, so good. I loved it. Same with Mind Games by Nora Roberts. That one was so different and just so kind of creepy, actually, but it was just so well done. Loving Romeo by Laura Pavlov. I love that book so much. That is probably one of my absolute favorite Laura Pavlov books I've ever read. Love Unwritten by Lauren Asher. That is going to be on my top. Raphael and Ellie, they have my heart. But those are just some of the highlights. There are a bunch more I could talk about, but I don't want to make this video any longer than it already is because I am a chatterbox. So let's just jump to my closing. So toodles. I wanted to also say that this video, this tag was, I don't know who made it originally, but I've seen Liesel from Liesel Loves Books do it. I've seen Tori from Novel Life do it, and I've seen Jess from Honest Fiction do it. And I will link their videos down below so you can take a look at what their answers are to these. And let me know what your answers are, because I would absolutely love to know what was your favorite book so far. If you have a bunch, please leave them down below. What was your biggest disappointment? I would love to know. And if you made it this far in this video and you want to let me know that you've been here, but you do not want to comment on anything, please leave me the hand heart emoji, because we're talking about books that are beautiful and the books that we loved and book boyfriends. So we gotta do the heart. And until next time, my friends, happy reading. Bye.